Welcome back, folks, to the This Week in WordPress and SaaS. This is episode 765. We've got Sharath from Zoho.com. We're going to be discussing Zoho, a great platform, a great partner for WordPress. We're going to be discussing Zoho's plans to maybe build more presence in the WordPress community. It should be a great discussion. Basically also got my co-host Kurt as well. So Kurt, would you like to quickly introduce yourself?
Certainly, yeah. My name's Kurt Van Anen. I own a consultation and WordPress agency called Manana No Mas, and we specialize in learning and membership sites.
And Sharath, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers? Give us like a 20-30 second introduction.
Sure, Jonathan. First of all, thanks for having me on your show. So episode number 765 does sound very significant. So it feels great to be here on your show, Jonathan.
It feels, that's very diplomatic to say significant. I just feel totally knackered, basically. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all, Jonathan. So I'm Sharath. So I'm with Zoho, a SaaS company based in India, and we have offices in California as well. So Zoho is primarily a SaaS company, and I've been handling partnerships at Zoho. So I've been with the company for a little over 6 years now, and I handle a different kind of partnerships, affiliate partnerships, platform partnerships, and distribution partnerships over Alliance and some of the strategic partnerships as well. And so it's been a ride for me here in Zoho.
That's fantastic. We're going to be discussing some of the best Zoho's got a very large group of services and products. We're going to be asked what Zara feels is some of the key ones that can work with WordPress, how they see WordPress. Do they see it as a great opportunity to build connections in the WordPress community, and much, much more. But before we go into the main meat and potatoes of this great interview, we got a couple of messages from our major sponsors. We will be back in a few moments, folks.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lifter LMS, the leading learning management system solution for WordPress. If you or your client are creating any kind of online course, training-based membership website, or any type of e-learning project, Lifter LMS is the most secure, stable, well-supported solution on the market. Go to lifterlms.com and save 20% at checkout with coupon code podcast20. That's podcast20. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Back, folks. I just want to point out we've got some great special offers from our major sponsors, plus a curated list of the best WordPress plugins for your clients, or if you're looking to build a WordPress website that will save you a load of time crawling the internet trying to find the best recommendations. They're all listed. To get all these goodies, these free goodies, all you have to do is go over to WP-Tonic/deals. WP-Tonic/deals, and you'll find all the goodies there. So let's go straight in it. So what do you think are some of the key products and services? You've got a very extensive library of services now, I think over 50 plus. Yeah. What are some of the key ones that you think our audience, which are WordPress developers, designers, and online entrepreneurs that listen to this show, what are some of the ones that you think might be of the most interest to our audience?
Sure, Jonathan. So Zoho is a SaaS company that provides a wide range of cloud-based software solutions for businesses. We have a little over 90 million users worldwide and 55 plus applications that cater to different business needs across various domains, including customer relationship, finance, HR, collaboration, productivity, and more. Some of our top products are CRM, Workplace, Books, Projects, and Desk. And these are already recognized by agencies like Gartner and Forrester in their Magic Quadrant, etc. And if you look at what are the ones that are relevant for WordPress, I would say Workplace, which brings together email, chat, and calls in one place. Begin, a simple pipeline management solution. Forms, a powerful online form builder. These are some of the apps that I can think of. So as soon as a WordPress developer builds a website, so all these apps can add tremendous value for those creating websites, because the moment a business, they have a website in place, the next thing would be to have a form builder to collect information from website visitors, a pipeline management solution that can help put together all the business inquiries that they get in one place. And also they would necessarily need email, chat, and calls for their collaboration requirements. So I think some of our products really fit hand in glove with the WordPress community.
Yeah, I agree with you, but two others that I really love is Zoho CRM. I use it myself.
Yeah.
Not for the marketing, you've got a separate product, and I actually think there's better WordPress solutions for marketing automation. But for your digital hub, your business hub, I just love Zoho CRM, and I use it for my own company. And the other one that I think is fantastic is Books. I think because it, compared to some of the other solutions, it's great value, it's reasonably easy to utilize, and it's the technical cost of getting it set up with Zoho CRM or Books is very attractive. So I think so. How do you, because I see Zoho CRM really pitched at the medium, it can deal with larger organizations, but the sweet spot I really see is in the small to medium size organization space, where they just don't have the IT staff maybe or the resources to deal with something like Salesforce. Is this how you see and I presume that you see Zoho CRM as one of your core products. Do you agree with what I'm outlining?
That's right, Jonathan. So in fact, CRM is our flagship product. In fact, we are known by our CRM product. Most of our customers know Zoho by the Zoho CRM offering that we have. So in fact, it's one of our most popular products. And then we started with small businesses who were looking at a very simple product with great ease of use. And we initially had a free version of it as well. And then once our products was started used by a lot of businesses, and then we add a lot of bells and whistles in place. And now, if you were to look at the enterprise version of CRM, it has a little more than 220 features. So it's as capable, if not as fully efficient and capable as Salesforce CRM with respect to the features and functionalities that it offers. And it's so extensible as well that it can work along with any of the third-party app, or even any with the native Zoho app as well. So you're fairly right in saying that Zoho is CRM is one of the most popular and well-recognized products within Zoho, and we are known for that. And you also mentioned Zoho Books. So Books is a product that came much later from CRM. CRM was one of our first products that came in 2008. Books came much later. So Books is an accounting software which is used by most of our businesses in India and a lot of businesses in US as well. So any of your tax filing requirements and accounting requirements, any of that can be fulfilled through Zoho Books. And that is also fairly easy to use, Jonathan. So it's great that you highlighted these two products of ours.
That's fantastic. Over to you, Kurt.
I'm still stuck on the 90 million number. He said 90 million, and I was like, what? So I guess my question is more like, I look at Zoho and I see this menu of products and this menu of things. And then, I work a lot in WordPress. So immediately I start thinking about integrations and use case and how would my clients use this and things like that. So internally, how does Zoho kind of like view WordPress, right? And then how is it, I guess that's what my main question is. How is Zoho internally looking at WordPress? And then maybe we can get into it over the next couple of questions about how we're going to integrate or use some of those products within that platform.
Sure. So given its enormous popularity among bloggers, developers, and business owners, WordPress has, in our opinion, achieved remarkable success in the CMS landscape. In terms of the platform's ease of use, extension capabilities, customization capabilities, and integration options, both WordPress and Zoho share a similar brand ethos. And we have always been willing to cater our software to any kind of business requirement, regardless of the customer segment they come from. So it's here where I feel there's a lot that we have in common. And in terms of the integration requirements as well, we are really flexible from that point as well. So we've been open, like I said, to work with any kind of business requirement, and then WordPress is no different for us.
Nice. And I'm just going to be transparent here. When I look at the Zoho menu, I find I get like that shiny object syndrome. There's so many choices. I have a hard time focusing on, well, which tool do I need, or which one what's a really good way for people to kind of embrace or start working within the Zoho environment, right? To pick things out. What would you recommend people start with?
Yeah, so I think it would be great to start with Mail because it's a product that's fairly understood, and it's a commoditized product as well. So everyone uses Mail for their email requirements. I think they can just start with that. And then once they get fairly familiarized with how the UI is and how it works, it's very, very simple to set up. It's very simple to use. The Mail is always a great starting point for getting to the full roster of apps. And then they can just slowly get used to the much more some of the other apps within Zoho, like let's say a Zoho Meeting, which is also fairly well recognized. Maybe Zoho Click, because everybody would have used some kind of collaboration or messaging app. So it's always important to get started with some of these apps, the commoditized apps that are already there in some form or shape that some of the other vendors provide, and then maybe go on to some of the other high concept or other deeper apps that offer much more functionality, something like a CRM or a desk or a projects that would be more extensive with the kind of features and functionalities. But having said so, there's nothing to intimidate the user. I understand that seeing all these apps in one shot can be a little overwhelming for any user, but it's always better to start off somewhere, and that would be email, which is fairly easier to use. And then I think once they get used to the hang of it, and then it's, even though there are like so many different apps, the way we started is that we wanted a single tech stack so that we have like a centralized control over all these apps. So even if they use different apps, but the user experience would be more or less the same, because it all has the same kind of backend frameworks and everything. So the moment they start using one app and then they switch over to the other, they will feel that although they perform different tasks or different kind of requirements, but the experience or the interface is more or less the same, and it will always be like a one Zoho experience when they use any of the apps together. Kurt, if that answers your question.
Excellent. Thanks, Sharath. Jonathan, back to you.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I think what our audience really want to hear, because there's a lot of SaaS companies that say, well, we provide a WordPress plugin, and to be truthful about it, you could take a short code or iframe and you probably get more functionality than the plugin. What the WordPress community is looking from an external partner is a really active commitment around providing a really robust and ever-growing API, and really signs of commitment through documentation and outreach to the community that the player is in there for the long term, because the last thing a developer wants to do is recommend a solution, then find that player just after a year just dumps its commitment to WordPress. So what is the internal discussion, to your knowledge, about really building out the API access and the documentation with some of your key products like Zoho CRM, Books, because I think when it comes to email, that really appeals to end users that are maybe looking at a cost-effective solution than Google Workspaces, which is great, but can get, if you've got multiple inbox needs, it becomes very expensive very quickly. And we recommend Zoho Mail to our particular audience. It's one of the solutions that we recommend. So that was a bit of a long-winded question, but I think you were following it. So
yes, I did, Jonathan. So in fact, so we are very committed to the WordPress developer community, like you said. And so all our products do have API documentation along with the products. If you were to extend the product for any of the other requirements, it does have deep extensibility capabilities. But over and above that, what we do have is something called Zoho Catalyst, which is like a cloud native platform that can be used by WordPress developers as an underlying infrastructure to build, host, and test their websites or deploy custom applications. So it can also enable them to build plugins and implement microservices to enhance their WordPress-based application. So it's Zoho Catalyst sits apart from the regular Zoho apps. It's more like a platform as a service offering, more than like a software as a service offering that we generally offer. So it's fairly new that we do because we saw a need for that as well. And the pricing is also fairly flexible. It's more like a pay-as-you-go model, so giving developers enormous flexibility towards what they can achieve through Catalyst, Jonathan.
Right, so that's fantastic. I just want to slightly push on the API because my experience is utilizing a key WordPress plugin called WP Fusion, which really is at the hub if you want to utilize WordPress for a learning management system or a community-based website, and you want to do integrated marketing automation. And if we get such needs, we fall back to WP Fusion, and it integrates with all the major CRMs. And it does integrate with Zoho CRM, but I personally know the developer, and compared to, let's say, ActiveCampaign and a couple other popular CRMs, the ability of WP Fusion to work with Zoho is a little bit less. So is it really on your radar to really work? Is this why you are looking at building more connection in the WordPress community? Because maybe you need more communication, because I just feel that you're just missing a fantastic opportunity to build something really fantastic in the WordPress community. Is this making any sense?
It does, Jonathan, especially with 43% of the websites built on WordPress, and with the whole lot of developers using an enormous number of plugins and tools that connects with WordPress. So I think it's definitely a great opportunity for us and a huge audience that we can leverage and tap into to make our apps widely available and across a wide range of use cases, like the one that you mentioned that ActiveCampaign currently does with WordPress. So I think we can look into it in much greater detail to see what is the opportunity and scope that we have in place that we can have worked with some of the developers and the community in WordPress, and really we are really committed to expand our footprint among this, Jonathan. Certainly.
Yeah, I'm great to hear that, because I really do honestly think that what you outlined at the beginning of this interview is true. The company's ethos is obviously it's a private company. It's slightly different, but it has shown that its fundamental ethos of offering free products that are not totally crippled. Like some of your products, the free products are extremely generous in their functionality, which isn't that common. A lot of the free products are extremely crippled, so they're practically not worth installing. but you've never done that. So I think the ethos of Zoho with WordPress are on the same prayer sheet, if that makes sense.
It does. It definitely does, Jonathan.
Right. We're going to go for our break. It's been a fantastic conversation. I think we've achieved, hopefully opening some of the eyes of our listener base to maybe looking at Zoho with fresh eyes. We will be back. We've got some more fabulous questions. We're going to delve a bit deeper. We will be back in a few moments, folks. We're coming back. I just want to point out, if you're looking for a great hosting provider that really works with learning management, membership, community websites like BuddyBoss, and you've got a big project and you're looking for a great hosting partner, but much, much more than that, why don't you look at WP-Tonic? We've got some great partnership packages for if you're a developer looking for a great WordPress hosting partner. You can have a look at what we're offering by going over to WP-Tonic/partners, WP-Tonic/partners, and we'd love you to sign up as a partner with WP-Tonic. So let's go further into this great interview. So what have you got? Have you discussed internally, and do you think you've got any kind of roadmap about how you can build your presence? I know you've been very generous and you've sponsored the WP-Tonic show for the last few months, and we've had a couple of discussions, and I've given you honest feedback. But do you feel that you might have a plan of action for the next year, 18 months, about how you get the message out to the WordPress community that you're looking to really build more partnerships in the community?
Absolutely, Jonathan. So it's a no-brainer for us, especially in the wake of the pandemic. So we are seeing huge swaths of customers switch to a cloud-first approach, with remote work becoming widely prevalent. And along with the WordPress developer community, therein lies our biggest growth opportunity. So unlike many other SaaS vendors that specialize in specific areas, Zoho offers an integrated suite that allows businesses to have a unified platform for their diverse software needs. We will continue to invest in our product suite to make it as broad and diversified as possible so that we can offer maximum value. Also, with the growing privacy concerns and the security concerns, customers are looking for vendors who take their privacy seriously. We at Zoho have a highly principled stance on data privacy and security, and it's important that we stay committed to our convictions if customers were to trust us with their business. So, like I said earlier, so we are really in it for the long run.
So, just a quick follow-through question before I throw it over to Kurt. But it's a slightly different scenario when you're talking to a open source CRM environment like WordPress. There's other ones, Joomla, Drupal. Yeah. There's a whole host of open source based communities. WordPress is the largest, but it's a bit slightly different because you're dealing with a dominance of developers, implementers, and designers rather than IT departments or dealing direct with people that own the company. So it's a slightly different audience that will be influenced slightly differently. Is that understood, do you feel, in the Zoho culture? And have you got any insight about how you're going to deal with that slight different community emphasis?
Yeah, so there is a lot for the developers as well. So we have a marketplace in place where they can build extensions to Zoho, and then they can list it there. And like I said earlier, so they can build over and above Zoho's suite in terms of the application layer, also in some of adding some of the tech chops to our existing products. So we are fairly open to work with any kind of WordPress developer with any kind of requirement that they may have, and they can just add value to any layer within that whole tech stack, Jonathan. So I understand that it's very different from our actual customer base, but we do have a lot of developers who are also working with us in different capacities. So we are in it for this working with developers as well within the WordPress community.
That's fantastic. Over to you, Kurt.
Great, thanks, Jonathan. Sharath, from a more general perspective, what does Zoho see as like the largest growth opportunity, or the biggest, the biggest grab over those 90 million users you talked about? What do they see for that growth pattern, going into 2023 and 2024?
Yeah, so with all the giant strides that AI is making, so we are actually doing a lot in that space, in the AI and ML space. So in fact, with respect to Catalyst that I earlier mentioned itself, we are actually coming up with Quick ML, so that allows developers to train AI models and then make it work across multiple platforms. And so also with respect to some of our apps, like I said earlier, so we are investing a lot in R&D with respect to broadening the capabilities and then widening the product suite as well to add more and more products to our roster of apps. So in general, so like I said, we are fully private and we are not listed at all. So we have the full freedom to take the kind of choices, the engineering decisions that we take here at Zoho, and we are in it for the long run. And then we mean a lot to our customers as well. Customers entrusted their whole business with us, so we are liable to them with respect to the kind of data privacy and security that we offer. And also, we owe that as well for the trust that customers show on us. So like I said, so we've always taken a very principled approach to whatever we do, and then in this space as well, with respect to some of these growth opportunities, this is where we think the big picture lies in for us.
Nice. Just when I thought we were going to do a show that didn't mention AI, Sharath had to mention AI. As a follow-up to that, like when you mention AI and you think about the scope of products that you have, what's like a common sense approach, or where do you think AI would be injected in one or two of your tools?
Sure. So we already have something called Zia, which is called the Zoho Intelligence Assistant. So since there are multiple apps, there will be data that would be contextually used across apps. And then it's really a hassle for a customer to keep switching between tabs from different apps to see how the data plays in some of the other apps within Zoho. So that really kind of makes that job easier for the customer in ensuring the customer is able to use seamlessly the data from one app to the other. And also with respect to ChatGPT as well. So most of our apps now integrate with ChatGPT, and so they can use it very seamlessly with some of our apps. And so that's also to buck the trend, we also have integrate with ChatGPT across most of our apps, and even the apps that have not integrated will be integrating in the near future. And all those capabilities that we offer with respect to AI, it's only going to improving, because we also have a lot of R&D that we do internally, and we are doubling down on the kind of efforts to ensure we're not lost in the race. And then a lot of AI will be coming out in our future releases as well on most of our products.
Cool, thanks, man. Back to you, Jonathan.
Yeah, I've got a kind of linked question. I've got some good news and I've got some bad news here. The good news is that I do think you've got some fabulous key products, like I've mentioned, Zoho CRM. I just love it. Books, and you got subscriptions, meetings, Zoho Meeting. I really got to look at that. I do another show which is really focused at people building membership and community. Zoom recently have changed their API, and it's become a lot harder to set up Zoom with WordPress. It would be a fabulous solution. So I truly think you've got some fabulous products, but we've got to be real here. One of the things I've noticed with Zoho is that you have got an extensive suite of services, over 50. And yes, you're a very large company, but I have also noticed some of the products become what I call orphans. They're not exact. You don't do what Google is notorious for. You just kill off a service out of the blue, but there does seem to be some of your services that are missing a bit of love. But I'm trying to be tactful here, but do you think this must be a discussion in Zoho? Do you need to pare down the amount of services you're offering? Because there's only so much focus that any company, you're a very large company, you have a lot of resources, but there's only so much focus a company can spread. How can you give a quick insight about maybe how some of these subjects are dealt with? It's a very large question, but hopefully you can see why I'm asking it.
Yeah, it's very understandable, Jonathan, because for a company to manage so many business apps together would be a nightmare. But we just not built that way. So we operate in a very federated way. Also, Zoho is one large company, but within that, there are several different product teams, each with their own product that work. There are separate engineering teams for each of these products that work and ship new releases, new features for each of these products. And that's one of the reasons why, like I said, since we are completely private, and so we don't have that shareholder, I think, lurking on us, or Wall Street kind of thing lurking on us. So we are in full discretion with the kind of investments that we want to make in our products. Maybe if not now, at a later stage, it might reap rewards. For example, we all saw how just during the pandemic, the demand for a meeting-based app just skyrocketed, right? Because everyone was just working remote, and then people had to connect from one corner of the world to other. So till then, our Zoho meeting product was not in the consideration set for a very long time. But just after the pandemic, we saw the demand for the product skyrocket. And for that reason alone, we had to deploy a lot of resources for that particular app. So we really take that horses for courses approach with respect to the kind of investments we make in apps. And so that's one of the reasons why we don't kind of kill any of the apps or anything like that, even if it does not intend to make the kind of returns that it gives eventually. So we believe, so it's like I said before, it's an integrated suite, like all of that in unison that gives that magic to the end customer, and then not any of these standalone applications at its own kind of merit. And that's why we believe that integrate to differentiate. Like the real differentiator as a product suite is that it's fully integrated. And so that's why it's fairly important that the comparison has to be made with a player like Microsoft, where even Microsoft sees itself as an integrated suite of apps and not these siloed individual apps put together. So that's where it really makes a difference, is what we feel.
Yeah, I feel that's a great answer, because I think one of the strengths is your Lego. I call it Lego block philosophy of having separate, because that really fits really well with the WordPress ethos, which is plug-in based, but it's also Lego based philosophy. And so I'm not totally committed to utilizing a WordPress solution just because it's a WordPress solution. I think there's some great WordPress solutions, but there's also some great SaaS-based solutions. It's more about the philosophy and view of the SaaS partner. Is it? And that's what I love about Zoho, because of what we've discussed earlier on during this interview. I'm going to throw it back over to Kurt again. Back over to you, Kurt.
Well, we usually ask a question about if you could go back, in a time machine and go back to the beginning of your career and, change something. What is it that you think that you would change, or what advice would you give yourself?
Become a WordPress developer.
So I wish so. Well, that's a good question, Kurt. So early on in my career, I used to suffer from what you call the imposter syndrome, where I used to doubt my abilities constantly and ask myself, what if I'm found out? So what if people think I'm a fraud? What if people think I'm not good enough or I don't cut it? So I later realized everyone around me was just winging it in whatever role they are. and figuring things along the way. So I'm not alone in that journey. And so I would have advised myself that it's okay to stumble and make mistakes as long as you learn from them, is what I would give to my previous self.
That is fantastic advice. I didn't realize that until much later in life. I was in a room with a bunch of vice presidents of a corporation once, and I had planned my presentation and I knew exactly what was going to happen. And all of a sudden the vice presidents were like, okay, let's talk about what we're going to teach today. And I was like, we already know. What are you talking about? And they changed everything on the fly.
Yeah,
and,
I can
and
understand
to your
that.
point, people that you don't think are winging it are completely winging it.
Yeah, they are.
Awesome.
They are.
Awesome. Jonathan?
Yeah, so are there, in the business world, obviously you're involved in building the business up, helping Zoho meet its business objectives. So are there any kind of books, online resources, personalities that have influenced your own view around business, online business? Are there any kind of personalities you follow? Anything that's on your radar that it comes to your mind that has influenced you that you like to share with the audience?
Sure. So since I work in the channel, so Jay McBain has been a huge influence on the kind of thinking that the kind of thinking that I've done with respect to the channel. So if you just look at the resources or books, so for tech executives, I would highly recommend a subscription to The Information or Strategy by Ben Thompson if you're a person that values depth over clickbait. So these have really expanded my perspectives on tech and how they brought how looking at the big picture and how is the galaxy of tech companies and how it's all intertwined and how it works together. So when it comes to books, there's this book called The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz that taught to me what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. So I particularly admired his whole peacetime CEO and wartime CEO comparison and what he did in each of these situations and circumstances. And also Deep Work by Cal Newport. It also talks about the importance of deep, focused work in a world filled with distractions. And also there's this book called Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a really good book that helped me understand.
Oh yeah, I tried to listen to that. I only got about halfway through it. It's a bit deep, isn't it?
It is. So it's one of the books that's really famous in my part of the world. So it was a really thought-provoking and quite deep book, I would say, Jonathan.
Right, thank you for that. So what's the best way for people to find out more about you, about Zoho? I think that's one of the things. Is there one place that you could recommend that a WordPress developer could go to find out, or could speak to somebody in Zoho if they're really interested in finding out more about Zoho and integrating some of their projects with Zoho? Is there any place in the Zoho universe that such an individual could go to?
Yes, Jonathan. So if they were to build, like I said, any hosting or a deploying kind of application that works along with WordPress, they can always go to Zoho Catalyst. And if they want to build plugins for our user base, then they could go to Zoho Marketplace and then get I think there's a Zoho Marketplace partner. Or even if they want to just develop plugins or just API-based integrations with their apps or with the Zoho, and then if they want to refer Zoho to any of their customers or friends or any of their networks or audience, they can always come to the Zoho affiliate program and then become an affiliate of Zoho. Or if they want to just use any of our products, they're always open to come directly to zoho.com and then sign up to any of our products and start using it, Jonathan. So over and above that, we usually do community meetups. So we have something called the Zoho community, where we frequently do user group meetings in various cities within the US. So, and also we also have a user conference called Zoholics, where we do releases.
I love the name.
Yes, that's the term that we use for our annual user conference. So there we also do our latest releases of new products that we have. So if they want to get introduced to the world of Zoho, they can come over to the user conference. So there are a whole variety of different avenues that are open for people to understand and to get acclimatized to what Zoho has to offer. And so over and above that, so they can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'm available on LinkedIn, or even if in your show notes, if you can just share my email, I think they can just directly get in touch with me on email.
That's fantastic. So, Kurt, what's the best way for people to find out more about you and what you are up to?
Just like Sharath said, I am on LinkedIn. Not only that, I'm the only Kurt Von Annen on LinkedIn. So when you find me, you know you got me.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Sharath, for coming on the show and for supporting the WP-Tonic podcast. It's muchly appreciated, and hopefully that might continue, or at some time you might consider re-supporting the show. Really love Zoho products. I really think they're great partners with WordPress. We're going to wrap it up now. If you really want to support the show, can you share the show on social media? Tell more people about the show. That really does promote it fantastic, and it would show your support. We will be back next week with another fantastic interview. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.